Good evening. We're here again on Truth Be Told Tuesday. And tonight I'm super excited to have with me Mr. Jeremy Dotson, aka J Dot. J Dot, again, thank you for being here tonight on Truth Be Told. I'm super excited, as I said, to hear your story. So before we jump into your story, I first want you to kind of tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me what life was like before you hit this point in life where perseverance played a very big part.
All right, what's up? What's up? I hope you're having a good day. Had a good
Mhm.
day, or having a good day. You know, it's Christmas time, so everybody
Yeah.
in good, joyful spirits. But me, I'm from Houston, Texas. My name, of course, is Jeremy. Born and raised here. I love it here. Can't change that. Um, I'm a real adventurous guy. You know what I mean? I like to do a lot of crazy things like martial arts and jumping out of planes and all kind of different things. I'm also a carpenter, so I have my own business where I make furniture pieces and different things like that. And I'm just a risk taker at all times. So I just go for it, go for the gusto. I've been like that since a kid at all time. Very creative. I mean, all the way back, far as I can remember, I'm always trying to put something together, trying to figure something out, asking all the questions, getting in trouble for asking all the questions. I feel like that's the only way that you learn is just to ask a bunch of questions. Because without questions, how do you know anything? And I don't think we really know much of anything. I think we just know what we know, and it's still to be determined. So.
Love it. Yeah, I seen some of your work too. So we'll talk about that later on. But I seen some of your creative pieces that you did, especially the stash box. I like the stash box.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, we'll get into that. So, again, your topic is standing despite of my loss. Tell me kind of how did you see life? Where were you in life before you hit that pivotal point of perseverance?
I was just living life. I was still doing my martial arts. I was very much in my athletic mode, which I still am, but of course, I was in a bigger mode than that. And I was building my brand. I was actually in full stride, from all things I had been playing and all that. And I was just in full stride going for that. Yeah, just happy and adventurous. I mean, I had moved from Houston for a little bit to Austin when I actually had the accident and lost my foot. That's what I guess that's break the ice. That's what we're talking about. Before I came amputee, so yeah, certain things came to a abrupt stop, but some other things came out of it as well. So, but I was always just leading up to it, just adventurous and going for it. That's me.
About the MMA fighting? I like MMA fighting. What about you fighting kind of like drives you? What's that adrenaline rush like for you?
See, I played football, obviously. Well, I ain't gonna say obviously, but as most guys have in should I say most, I guess guys have in
Mhm.
high school and all those different things. Almost made it to college, but I didn't. So, but it gave me a certain level of aggression in some of the things that I may have been working through as a kid. And I was able to release that at practice. So when I found I've always wanted to get in boxing, but I would get in trouble for fighting or something at school. So my mom was like, "Nah, you can't do it." I was like, "Well, if I went to the gym, it would be different because I wouldn't have to worry about it here. Maybe we could turn this into something." She didn't really understand it as much, but so when I got the opportunity right after I graduated and got to college and I started looking into it and finding the gym and all those different things, I was able to tap into it, and it opened up that level of aggression that I was experiencing in football. But the difference was the more aggressive you were, the worse it was on you because you go up against people with more experience. It's not the game of boxing or an MMA and martial arts sports, and combat sports, should I say, is not the aggression. It's more strategic and calculated risk and calculations when, and precision that you have to use. Now, it takes a bit of aggression to be able to get to that level, but you
Mhm.
have to have controlled aggression. So that's what martial arts did for me, and it just helped my mind. It helped me work through things. Even now, after my accident, uh, it's the only thing I had to get back to. I wasn't even fully healed before I was back in the gym trying to do something. They were trying to kick me out, like, man, we ain't trying to get you to lose your whole thing and get infected. So please go home. I was like, nah, man, I have to be here because that was the only thing that was able to extract the energy out of my brain to just not think
Mm,
about nothing, not focus on anything. I was able to just focus on what was right in front of me, and I could zone out all of the noise. So.
okay. Like that. I actually watched your news clipping and I guess right after the accident and I was just thinking like, man, like he's sitting there like there's like it's nothing happened. Like it's cool. Y'all be cool. Like I got this. And I remember you saying like I'm ready to get back to the MMA. Like if anybody looking, reach out to me. And I thought that moment right there was very, very powerful because it's so often that like we go through things that our life that change our life. And even I met a young lady that abruptly, I think I'm not sure exactly maybe if she caught like an infection in her leg or whatever happened, but she ended up having to get her leg amputated. And so since I've met her, I've kind of like just followed her journey along and I've, talked with her and things like that. And I just remember when I first met her, it was just like her spirit was so down, trying to figure out like now how do I navigate life with this loss? What do you say to someone who has, suffered a loss like that and you don't know what it's like? Was there someone who was like in your corner that encouraged you to keep moving forward, or have you just always been filled with this type of just get up and go, just keep going, like nothing can knock me down type of energy?
I would probably say I always been that way. But I understand where she's coming from.
Mhm.
I just had to, and I still psych myself out every day. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely a struggle in the same type of way that hers is. I try to figure out how to deal with life. It wasn't until after I lost my foot that I ended up having a kid, and all of the ambitions and stuff that I thought about with my daughter, like, or what I would bring to my kids. I wasn't able to, like, I ain't gonna say I'm not able to, but it's not in the same manner. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think about, if I'm sleeping, something going on, I gotta try to put this leg on or hop and go do this. I can't just get, so it's a lot of stress and strain in my brain, but you just gotta solve, with every problem comes some type of solution, whether it be one that you like or one that you don't like. So, like I said, if I have something going on and hey, I just got to deal with what I got to deal with at that time. Or I'll just make preparations that's close enough to the bed to where I can get where I need to. Um, but not necessarily anybody in my ear. Like I said, I've always been that. But my mom was a very, very big supporter of mine. Like she came before I could even open my eyes. I called her when I was out on the road. And before I within a couple hours, because it's only a couple hours away from Houston, but less than a couple hours, she was already at the hospital, making sure everything was good. And I called her out of her sleep at night. It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So she was there before 1 o'clock even touched. So she was a big supporter in just being there. But
Mhm.
it's a huge, huge, huge mental change. It's different from you sick and it's coming and you get to plan it and like, well, listen, we're gonna do it on this date. So in her situation, I guess it was like a not a choice, but something that she was able to plan out and get to it. So I don't really know that side of the story because like I can't imagine somebody saying in 2 weeks we gonna take it, and then I actually have to go in there and it just
Right.
abruptly happened for me. So I, I don't know. I can't say which one is better or not, but I would still think it's still the same mental battle where you have to just find that mental fortitude. That's the biggest thing I can say is find the mental fortitude and you should be able to fight through it. It ain't easy at all, but you gotta fortify your mind and find something else to do. Just do anything that make you feel like you're normal. I don't care. I like me. I take a shower standing up on one foot. I refuse. They be like, you need to get a chair. I'm like, I refuse to sit down in the shower. Like until I can't stand on that leg. Like I just feel like I refuse to do it. You know, I refuse to think of myself even when I have the foot on. I just walk normal. I'm not here to limp. I'm not like no. I refuse to. do things that's not the way I've always done them, you know. And when I meet that wall of limitation, I'll meet it. But until I get there, I'm not gonna search for it.
Right. I like that. I like the fact that you said I'm not gonna search for it because I mean, even though it's a physical loss, a body part, I feel like the story still can resonate even with someone who's lost someone to death because even sometimes, even when people abruptly lose people to death, you know, they shut down and they go into this pit and it's kind of hard to come out of. I remember I had a mental health tea and the guy was talking about, you know, he had lost his mom and he was talking about grief and he was saying that, you know, we don't normally grieve people that we don't love. So he said, I realized that grief is just love with nowhere to go. And it just blew my mind. So he was like, when you're grieving, you just need to find things that you love to
Mhm.
replace that grief. And I thought that was very powerful. And so your
Yeah.
love for MMA, I mean, it spoke volumes. So I like the fact that you didn't let that define you as far as okay, this has happened to me, but it doesn't define me. So what is your day-to-day mindset? Do you have any type of mottos that you go by? Do you have any kind of regimens that you do to kind of keep yourself motivated?
Um, Not necessarily anything specific besides I'm too strong to be weak enough to quit. That's one of my things. Like even times when it get dark and you kind of want to just let life go, it's just like I can't submit myself to that type of weakness because I'm just too strong to do so. One of the anybody that's amputee, if you haven't seen it, it's Men of Honor. You know, if you haven't, you know what I'm saying, with Cuba Gooding Jr. That movie, you seen it?
Uh-huh.
One of my favorite movies. And it was just because I saw how like mentally strong he was. And I was like, man, I gotta be like that, you know? And I, even though I'm a big guy, strong guy, whatever, I still, you know, as a kid, it just brought like emotions like, man, like that's a lot to go through to still, you know, have everybody against you, but like you just refuse to quit. Even when you want to quit, like you fighting your mind just to stay strong. And I remember my mom, I was in the hospital and I watched that movie like the very next day when I woke up, I watched it. I think I paid on Amazon to rent it and I watched it on my phone. She's like, why are you watching it? I was like, because I gotta remind myself that, you know, I ain't the only one that did it, and this is somebody that did it at the greatest level. You know what I mean? Like this man, thousands of feet under the water, hundreds of feet underwater, you know, and it's an absolute true story. You know, it's not a fable. So I'm like, if he can do it, I can at least get halfway there. You know, like I can't, I'm not, I'm similar to him in mind state, just may not be a Marine or a sailor, but I refuse to quit on that. That's just me.
I like that. And you do have to look back and that's another good point that you made too, because that's honestly how I got over and through everything that I had compiled within myself to break through and keep persevering. It was having those meetings and having people come in and tell me their story. You know how you like you think you got it bad until you hear somebody else that had it worse. And it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I need to like straighten myself up because I didn't even have to endure that. So you start, you know, appreciating where you're at. And like you said, it's not easy. Healing is not easy on any level, whether it be from a physical illness, mental illness, emotional illness. But the fact that, you know, that word perseverance, and a lot of people don't know what perseverance means, but tell me the importance of that word perseverance and what it means to you.
The importance of perseverance is to me, and what it means no matter what come in front of you, if you already set your mind to do a particular thing, or if you set your mind not even just to a particular thing, just set your mind that, hey, I'm willing for whatever, never back down from that. I'm willing. Like you said before, you saying how, you know, I could looking at somebody that could be worse. I had to come to a grips at some point, and it was recently, because like going back into competitive sports, everybody, like my coach, my head coach is a Marine. So he brought it to my attention and it's a good thing. And I'll give you the other side of it. So he's like, yeah, man, I've seen people step on IEDs and they ain't healed them. He's like, man, they'll give their life right or give everything to come back and just lose a foot. And so for a point, I'm like, all right, maybe I'm being ungrateful, like going through what I'm going through, because I could have lost both. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I could be paralyzed. It's a lot of things that could happen. But I also had to remember too, even though I'm not on that side of the table for whatever else that could have happened, I am still on this side of the table. So even though it could be worse, it still is what it is. So if I'm still going through it, I'm still going through it. So it doesn't make theirs any worse, doesn't make mine any better. You just have to look at what's right in front of you and say, listen, I'm willing to dot 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 you
Yeah.
know and a lot of people aren't necessarily willing. They find themselves not willing to persevere or to struggle through anything. Even me, I was 320 pounds before I got down. I at what, 18 or like 19, 20 when I lost it, right? 20 when I lost it, right? But I did it because I've always wanted to lose the weight because I was just a fat kid. I ate whatever. I was eating dinner for breakfast and breakfast for dinner and dinner again, and then I was eating everything that was possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I've wanted to do it, and then my cousin, she ended up coming down with lupus, so she ended up needing the kidney. So I was like, well, I'm willing to do it. I got the right blood type, so I was like, well, I'll do it. Well, I get there and the BMI is too high. So I had never done it, lost enough weight to get to that point. So long story short is I lose the weight. I had to persevere through all of the struggles. Now, mind you, I'm in college where I'm free to do what I want. I got meal plans. I can get money. I had a job so I can go buy and eat what I want. But I'm willing to go through what I have to go through to help her and to help myself, And so by helping her, I help myself. And even that just helped me with the mental fortitude for this as well. I'm willing to go through the pain that I go through every day just so I can have my mental strength and be able to go do it. Because I can't sit at home and not do nothing. I can't
Mm-hmm.
not go be active, because my brain won't allow me to do it. So I'm willing to do whatever I gotta take to heal myself in that manner. And that would be the biggest thing. If I can make a shirt, I'm willing to dot dot dot.
I like
That's what I would
that.
say perseverance is. It's just what are you willing to do?
When you were talking, and you were talking about going from losing the weight and giving your cousin a kidney to that being something that you use after you had the loss of your foot. And God spoke to me and said he was preparing you to persevere. And it's so crazy if you think back, like
Yeah.
if you just take time to think back, we'll realize that God prepared us like so long ago for a lot of the things that we go through, but it's about the willingness, like you said, to open up our eyes and see it that way because that is our choice. That's all within
Yeah.
our mindset. Am I gonna sit here and have a pity party? And why did this happen to me? This lady told me back when I was probably in my early 20s. I don't know if we were having a conversation, maybe I said why me or not, but she was like, why not you?
Yeah.
Like, if not you, who would you put it on?
Right.
And it was like,
Don't pray my
ugh.
neighbor. That's what I put.
I seen that even you going to the school, speaking with the kids and things like that. Again, it's so many people that you can motivate with your story, even if it's not because they had an accident or whatever. It's just a lot of people that you can motivate just with your perseverance, just seeing your strength and just knowing that, hey, you're not alone. What would be a legacy that you would say you want to leave behind as Mr. Jeremy Dotson? What?
And I'm gone. Attached to my name will be a man that has never ever folded to any and or anything or anyone that was good, bad anything. He always stood the test, and he was always willing to go through whatever it took. And he was very giving, and he's a man of integrity, pride, and strength. And it wasn't nothing that you couldn't ask him for. Very giving, loving guy, but a man that was full of integrity, pride, and strength. And at the end of the day, there's nothing else that he was able that he could have done to left on the table. Everything he left on the table is all he could because he left everything for him. I agree though. Let my work speak for themselves. Because what I've done, the people I touched, if that don't speak, I feel like that should be everybody's motto. Because no matter what you do, if it don't speak outside of you, then you ain't really did nothing. If you ain't touched nobody, if you ain't had an impact on anybody, then you haven't had anything.
I feel like that should be very important to people. We should definitely want to leave something good to be spoken on our name. And got on the tombstone, we got that birthday and we got that death date. And that little dash in the middle is all the time that we have to make that impression on
And
what we're
it's
going
short
through.
too, ain't
It's
it?
short.
That
It's
little bitty dash is little and figuratively, and literally in the mass amount of time that time is. So
yeah,
if you can't captivate souls, if you can't leave something where whether you change somebody's life or you just was a positive energy in the world, then you didn't do anything. That's how I
yeah.
feel. If you didn't help anybody, then you haven't done anything. If you're not selfless, then you're not a person that is. I feel like those are the people that get reincarnated. Is the
Mhm.
selflessness.
Yeah.
Like if you selfless, you can move on. If you selfish, you just gotta come back and do it again.
Yeah.
Come back and do it again. You still got work to do. Now, I feel like that's you saying to Bob. You still hey, I still got work to do. Yeah, you still got work to do because you thought this was all about you, and it's really about everybody else outside of you.
I love it. I have a friend guy of mine's DJ that's on the call as well. He does fitness and motivational speaking. Put on here that he watched your video today. He says, I'm inspired by you, brother, and thank you. Thank you, Sunshine, for allowing me to be a part.
Yeah, brother. I just want to say, thank both of you all. And I checked out your story this morning. Man, it's such an inspiration, and I can see the light when I was watching that story. It just, you're shining. So I want to just, give a little words of encouragement to tell you to keep going, man. Believe it or not, I know you changing, affecting so many lives, and sometimes that's all people need, just to be in your presence. And you can, I'm inspired right now. I felt it through the phone watching your story on Instagram, and I'm feeling
Yeah.
it now. So I just want to let you know, man, regardless of what you may be going through, keep that light, keep it going.
Respect, brother. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I be needing those, I'm needing that, even though I keep going, but that is what keep me going, knowing that it is people out there that can, see the light that I try to bring and the light that I hold. And to believe it or not, y'all keep my torch lit,
Yeah,
for real, for real. Like I
appreciate
said, it's an even exchange, man.
you. Yeah,
Without you and everybody else that see me in that light, I have no light.
right.
So
I can't imagine what you had to go through to get to this experience, but I know it was worth it. And I know just listening to you and listening to you and Sunshine, I know she was saying that it took her 38 years to get to this gratitude moment. And I'm sure you had to go through a lot of things that you had to get through as well to get to this moment to be grateful. But man, I can see that light. It's effortlessly.
thank you,
I
man.
made a video a few months ago. People can't pay for what you have. Like sometimes it just take those experiences to get to where I don't know what your life looked like before this experience, but I know well, I just know your light is shining very bright now. So I just want to, kind of repeat myself and say, keep shining, brother.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
I will. I'm gonna do it for sure.
yeah,
For sure. You helping me out, man.
yeah,
For sure, for sure. I will.
It's not that many people that's able to not fold, and it's so many times I wanted to, but I was like you, like I can't do it. I mean, just thinking about not giving my all, and giving up, it just don't sit right with me. So I just feel like I have to constantly keep going. But what excites me now about keep going is knowing that I took the time out to heal myself, so that when I'm keep going and I'm giving out and I'm trying to motivate other people, that I'm actually healed and fulfilled within myself. So men are so afraid to just come forward and say, hey, I've been through stuff, man. It's been hard. Y'all done had a lot of pressure on me to be this, to be that. And sometimes I get weak. Sometimes I get worn. Sometimes I need a team. And like you said, sometimes I need somebody to just tell me that I'm doing a good thing so that I can be refueled, so I can continue for motivation, and definitely your spirit, because I'm a very spiritual person. So your spirit, even in your videos, whether it was the MMA videos, your picture with your daughter, it you radiate through that. And that's good, because it's
Thank you,
just
thank
like,
you.
it was just interesting. Once I seen it, I'm like, yep, definitely ready to, hear that, because I was completely blown away. Like I said, once I seen that news clipping, I
Yeah.
was blown away. So I definitely say, continue what you are doing. I think that you are a blessing to the world, and I'm grateful that you looked at what you went through in a positive light, so that you could come back and tell people that all is not lost.
Thing I
It's
can
just
say though, one thing I definitely with that is just like, listen, embody it. Like I when I'm in the hospital, as I'm in the hospital, should I say, uh, my mom was there, and I was making jokes with the nurses, and I was just like, they were coming in checking my leg, and so I just started calling it my baby leg, and it ended up turning into something that like almost like a little clothing brand and a slogan. So now sometimes people call me baby leg and things like that, and I just go with it. But the faster you can embody it and just accept it, I think a lot of the struggle people have is accepting certain things. Even in like somebody passing, it's hard to accept the fact that, dang, my mom's gone or my grandmother's gone, or this person gone. Even though it may be hard to actually accept it, but the faster you can get to that acceptance point, the faster you can get to a point to where you are prepared to persevere past it, and you're willing to go on and do things. I'm not gonna look at my grandma passed. I'm like 13 or whatever, so I'm not gonna look at her pictures and be sad. I'm just like, man, I remember when she used to cut up a burger and give it to me. I remember when I would go over there and she would laugh and say this. So I'm thinking about all the joyful things. So it make it very, very hard for me to think about anything negative, because she wasn't a negative person. So for me to think about just that one moment of her passing as the totality and make me sad, I feel like that's almost belittling that person or anything to something super small. Or any adversity you may have, you should look at it into a, like, listen, I accept it. That's the first thing you say, I accept it. Because when I'm looking there on my leg, I'm like, dang, it it's gone. I looked at it to the side. I'm like, all right, it ain't coming back. So all right,
yeah,
cool. So what I gotta do to get where I want to be, So 8 months later, I went and bought a bike, because I'm like, you know what? I bought another one.
yeah.
I ain't
I
finna
love
sit back and not do nothing.
I would tell people sometimes, just like when you think about that person, you feel like you want to give up. Just ask yourself, like, if they were to come back right now, would they approve of where you are? Like, would they approve of you saying, hey, I just let my life go because you left here? And I know my grandmother was not that type of person. So I have truly enjoyed talking with you tonight. I definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your night to come on. Do you have any departing words that you would like to say before we end the live?
All right, hey, listen, I appreciate you for bringing me on. I had a great talk with you. Anytime you want me to come through, I'm down. It was nice meeting you too, DJ. I appreciate the kind words, man. Like we talked about perseverance and all those different things. The best thing I can say, man, listen, no matter what it is, no matter what you got to go through, just accept it and go through it. And the biggest thing I can say is find out what I'm willing to do. And that first part of the sentence is, I'm willing to do.
Exactly.
I'm willing to do, and add whatever it is that you have to after that. Whether you lose a foot, you lose an arm, you get cancer, whatever it is. If you're willing to quit, then hey, I'm willing to quit. That's whatever you choose, but whatever you're willing to do, that's what you need to focus on, and to get where you're trying to go. And no matter what that choice is, if it should I say, if it's something that you really want to do and you focus on doing that, you'll always get to the other side, and you always have a peace about it. And it won't be as such of a struggle, and so accept whatever it might be, man. Life is life, and it always gonna be life until we gone, and then it's still some type of life after that. You know what I mean? So we don't know what the struggle is on the other side, but we know we have certain struggles right now. So just accept it and move forward. And just make beauty out of it. Just life is beautiful. Even when it's dark for me, I'll be like, you know what? I'll go to the gym or I go outside and I go look at some trees. I'm like, man, it's definitely a beautiful day. You know what I mean? So if even if my mood isn't beautiful, the day is, and something about what's going on is. So go find that, and you'll find peace.
I love it. You definitely you right about that, and I'm definitely even gonna take some of these jewels you dropped tonight too. Say it was very very nice talking to you. Thanks for taking the
Yeah, for
time out.
sure.
And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. And I'll be talking
Hey,
to you.
for sure, it's 2026.
Your socials as well. Your socials, your handles, so I'll have that as
Yeah,
well.
I just got two, I guess. So I got on Instagram is God Jdot, GODJDOT, and on YouTube is Baby Leg TV. Baby
Okay.
Leg TV. That's it. You'll find some cool stuff.
And I thank you so much. And you have a wonderful Christmas for you and your family. And I will talk to you in the New Year's.
All right, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye bye.